Hi, lovies. This is Karma's Eye Psychic LLC here on Universal Spirit Podcast, and we are getting toward the end of our magic series. But here on episode 17, we're going to be talking about jars. I know this sounds familiar for a lot of people who definitely give off, stereotypes about witches and magical practitioners, that we are obsessed with jars, and unfortunately, this is true. Witches and spiritual practitioners have used jars for centuries, right? Jars are so valuable, even for the smallest of purposes. Jars, first, is a way to keep things organized. When working with herbs, roots, etc., and keeping them in jars is a great way to keep track of your materials. That's just like a no-brainer, right? The use of clear jars are good for things that are not easily affected by the sunlight. Considering, back in the day, putting your jars away, out of view of the sun was not the same as it is today. And darker jars are to protect things that may be sensitive to sunlight. This is how food was tracked and inventoried in ancient times, right? As well as keeping them as fresh as possible without modern day refrigeration. Second, jars hold magical value in that your intentions can be kept in a jar as well as your materials. So you put the intention into the jar and it fills the space just as much as the materials and herbs do. It has been said to speak your intentions over your herbs and place them in the jar and seal them shut. This is also why jar lids are sealed with wax or like a permanent epoxy. The folklore is that if the lid or seal is broken, your intentions will fly away out of the jar and the spell is no longer working, right? So this includes like sweet jars, sour jars, and just regular freezer spells, or just whatever your intention is to put something in a jar, right? To hold someone, to bind someone, to dominate it, whichever, right? A spiritual practitioner could easily disguise their magic with the rest of the food in the home in ancient times as well as now. So there are, some of us practitioners, we do have some of our spell jars in the spice cabinet, and it's usually the one that we're never touching, okay? We're never really going for, at least when there's company around. So just keep that in mind, right? For sanitation reasons, keeping spells in a jar, and especially under your bed or in your closet, will ward off pests and vermin from getting into it or disturbing it. So yes, there are things that you would need to like scatter rosemary and stuff like that, but I mean, let's just face it, even in the most modern day homes, you're never going to stop bugs and rodents from finding what their natural senses are going to lead them to, right? So if you got like really sweet smelling cloves and there just happens to be, a little critter around, they're going to follow the scent of that. So jars definitely keep things a lot more sanitary. A jar is used as like a moving altar to some practitioners, placing things in and out of them periodically. So some jars, multi-use, multi-purpose, trust and believe, that is a thing. These are old, moving, or living spells that travel with you for a certain period of time. Lastly, jars are all not for malicious work, but they can be. Because when they are, jars can contain materials or substances that you intend to rot or go bad to use later. Especially those who put like chicken hearts or maybe even bugs in them, or you just need milk to sour and this is your way of doing that. Jars are like keeping your intentions and also keeping the process private and contained. Jars enhance a practitioner's patience when waiting for the souring of food, decaying of animal parts, and etc. Like I just said, the jar becomes a vessel of your malicious intentions and also your positive intentions. Sweet jars then become like a perfume, right? Like a safe space, or even a happy place, right? The jar becomes like a coffin or place of death for evil intent. So now what I'm going to ask, what are you guys putting in jars? And do you look at them the same way now? But the unfortunate part is the stereotype is true. When witches and practitioners see jars, we get so creative. We're just like, I know what I'm gonna put in that. I know what I'm gonna do with this, right? It's kind of like we almost feel like we're entitled to every jar we see, because everything just to us has a place. We are collectors. We are, understanding that times are going to pass, and that people are multiplying and situations are changing, and there might be a time where you need to throw out a jar and then make a new one. Jars break and all that fun stuff. But even for jars, sweet jars and honey jars, if it's keeping our stuff private, and jars are inconspicuous. You can put them in the freezer, you can put them in the refrigerator, you can put them in the cabinet, like I said before, with the rest of your stuff. And literally, like, a jar under your bed is gonna look like it doesn't belong there, and that it's like, oops, I left it there, or oh, maybe my kids put it there. But no, tell me, what are your thoughts, and what can you offer to this conversation? I'd like to hear it. So thank you guys for listening. This is Christina with Karma's Eye Psychic LLC here on Universal Spirit Podcast, and I will see you in the next episode.